Welcome to yet another session of Business Studies past papers. Today we will be dealing with the May-June 2017 past paper. As you are now well aware, we have a 2-hour question paper which consists of 5 questions, all of which are compulsory. All the questions are based on the case study that you see at the beginning of the question paper. Let's look at the case study for this question paper. Sunita and Ben are partners in a business called Hugin's Travel that they started in 2000. They formed a partnership to hire out coaches for the local area. Sunita used to drive a single coach for school journeys, day trips, excursions, and transferring workers to and from different locations. Ben worked part-time, completing all the paperwork for the business. As the business grew, both Sunita and Ben had to spend more of their time driving. It then became too much for them, so they employed 3 additional drivers, 1 full-time and 2 part-time. Occasionally, some drivers were hired as casual employees. Since 2005, Sunita and Ben have worked full-time in the office along with 2 other members of staff. They rent offices in an old building that has garage space for the coaches. One of their business objectives is to be as environmentally friendly as possible. In 2007, the business changed into a private company called Hugin Travel Limited, HTL. The successful business now owns a fleet of 50 coaches that it hires out to customers and other businesses. Sunita and Ben are now considering whether to continue expanding HTL or becoming a public limited company. If they do this, they will need to purchase at least 25 new coaches. This would require a large investment of finance that HTL does not have at the moment. Right. Now, based on this case study, you can see that this business was established as a partnership and then it has become a private limited liability company, and now they are planning to go public or convert themselves into a public limited company. The decision is not still made. However, they have an intention of doing this. It is an expanding business, as you see. From a single coach, it has grown to a business of 50 coaches. But currently they don't have a large amount of finance to do a large amount of investments. Let's look at the questions that are now based on this case study. Question number 1, as you are well aware, has 5 parts which will be MCQ questions. Part A has 5 parts which will be MCQ questions. Each of them will carry 1 mark. When you are answering MCQ questions, children, remember that we use the elimination method. The elimination method is to eliminate all the wrong answers and select the correct answer. Let's look at the question. When Sunita and Ben started HTL as partners, they had local liability, a term that is not relevant. National liability, again, a term that is not relevant here. Limited liability, yes, could be a relevant term. However, you have to understand that partners in a partnership do not have limited liability unless it is a limited partnership. Limited liability is when the liability of the partners will be limited to the extent that they have invested in the business and they are not in a position to lose their personal assets. Therefore, normally the liability of partners is unlimited. So the answer to this question is unlimited liability. Let's look at the next question. Coach drivers applying for a job at HTL would complete a job description. Children, remember, a job description is a document that is prepared by the employer. In this case, HTL will prepare the job description which gives the guidelines of what type of job is available. A person specification again will be prepared by HTL which gives the outline of what kind of person will suit the job available. A curriculum vitae again is used for applying a job, but it would be a document that is prepared by the employee when applying for a job. It need not be completed at HTL in this case because it consists of the personal details of the employee as well as his educational qualifications. The correct answer in this situation is an application form that has to be filled when applying for a job. The next question. Money coming into and going out of HTL is a mortgage. Okay, the option mortgage cannot be considered here because mortgage, as you are well aware, is a situation where an asset of the business is secured to a bank against a loan obtained. So the asset will be reverted back to the business when they repay the loan. Break even again has nothing to do with money coming in and going out of the business. Basically, break even is the point where both the total revenue is equal to total costs, which is a point where the business makes neither profit nor losses. The next option is profit and loss. Profit and loss too cannot be the correct option, because profit and loss is basically a statement which is prepared by the business in order to identify whether the business is prepared, whether the business has obtained a profit or a loss by comparing the revenue against the expenses. So the correct answer in this situation is the cash flow. The cash flow statement indicates money coming in and going out of the business. Let's look at the next question. Which method of training is carried out when employees start at HTL? So the options available are on-the-job training. Basically, on-the-job training is a form of training given to employees when they are inside the organization in the form of following a mentor. Off-the-job training is training that is provided to workers when they go out from the organization, when they are trained away from the organization and not within the organization, as opposed to on-the-job training. Then government schemes is not a method of training at all. Therefore, the correct option would be induction training. Induction training is the training that is carried out when an employee starts his job. So even at HTL, it would be induction training. The next question. Which of the following applies to a public limited company? A. Controlled by the government. Public limited company children are not controlled by the government because they are not owned by the government. They are owned by public shareholders. Minimum number of owners is 7. There is no limitation for the number of owners for public limited liability company. Restriction in transfer of shares is not included for public limited liability company because they are in a position to sell their shares, and people can buy and sell shares of public limited companies very freely, unlike in the case of private limited liability companies. So the correct answer in this situation would be shares are traded on the stock exchange. Only public limited liability companies are permitted to trade their shares on the stock exchange. Let's look at the next question. Before that, remember that this signifies the end of the MCQ questions. So you would have scored 5 marks by now. Remember, when you are answering MCQ questions, please don't spend too much time, because each question only carries 1 mark. So you could spend an average of a minute to obtain each one of the marks. Let's go on to the next question. Using an example, describe how Sunita and Ben could motivate their staff financially. Right. Children, this is talking about motivation. There are 2 methods of motivation, as you can recall. There is financial motivation for staff and there is non-financial motivation for staff. Here they are asking you to give an example and also describe, and it's for 2 marks. So when you are asked to give an example, please remember that you are supposed to quote an example in this case and give a proper description. So let's look at the answer that is possible. They can motivate their staff financially by providing them with a bonus. As you know, bonuses are financial motivators. Then you can develop the answer further by saying this can be paid out as 2 times the driver's salary during holiday season when the driver's workload is heavier. So therefore, this is giving the example. The financial motivator here is the bonus. The example is how the bonus can be given out. So in this situation, I am describing it as it being paid out as 2 months additional salary. It can be any other form of financial motivator that you can think of. In this case, there is no hard and fast rule for you to stick to bonuses only. If you have any other financial motivators that can come up to you, it's always okay to use that. Let's look at the next question. Identify the sector in which HTL operates. Obviously, HTL is a business which is offering transport services. Therefore, it is a service-based business. So, if you take the 3 sectors of businesses, you have the primary sector, secondary sector and the tertiary sector. So this is a service business, therefore it is operating in the tertiary sector. No production activities take place here, nor are they extracting anything from nature. Therefore this business is a tertiary sector business providing transport services. Let's look at the next question. The Boston matrix helps a business analyze the products and services it makes. Right, now the image of the Boston matrix is given. All you have to do is identify the 4 categories for 4 marks. So basically, by memory, you know that point A, where the market growth rate is high and market share is high, is called a star. Point B, where the market growth rate is high, however, the market share is low, is called a problem child. Then C, the point at which market growth rate is low but market share is high, is called a cash cow. D, where market growth rate is low and market share is low, is called a dog. Therefore, just by remembering or writing these terms down, you can achieve 4 marks. There is no need for you to make any explanations here or define what each of these terms are. It would just require you to identify them and write them down to obtain 4 marks. Let's look at the next question. State 2 advantages for HTL of changing to a public limited company. Right, now currently you know that HTL is a private limited company. So the advantage when HTL converts to a public limited company is for 2 marks. Children, remember that you can write 2 advantages. They are saying to state, therefore there is no need for you to give an example in this case. There is no need for you to give an explanation. Just state them. HTL can be quoted in the stock exchange. Therefore, it gains recognition. More share capital can be raised by selling shares to the general public. So, they can have more share capital and they can get themselves quoted in the stock exchange to gain recognition. This is for 2 marks. Let's look at the next question then. State 2 disadvantages for HTL of changing to public limited company other than having to publish its accounts. So, now you have seen the advantages. Let's look at the disadvantages. Apart from having to publish its accounts, when a private limited company becomes a public limited company, one of the things is the original owners may lose control over the company because of the large number of shareholders. So in this case, Ben and Sunita may not have control because other people will buy the shares. Then more legal requirements have to be fulfilled when going public. This means that they have to incur additional expenses. Therefore, understand that the 2 disadvantages are original owners will lose control and there is a lot of legal requirements which leads to more expenses. This is for 2 marks. You just have to state them one below the other. Complete sentences are accepted. There is no need to give detailed explanations. No examples required. Let's look at the next question. Analyze how having to publish accounts may be disadvantages for HTL if it changed to a public limited company. Children, now it's very important for you to understand here that the question requires you to analyze, right? When it is a 4-mark analyze question, you have to give the clear reasons with explanation and perhaps an example. In this case, let us explain. The original owners will no longer enjoy the privacy of keeping the accounts to themselves. Even the competitors will have access to the accounting information of the firm. So that would be one disadvantage if they publish the accounts. The second disadvantage is, further, when they publish accounts, they would have to hire the services of professional accountants who will be responsible to prepare the accounts in the required format, which means HTL will have to incur additional expenses in terms of accountant and auditor fees. So you can see for 4 marks, 2 disadvantages are given and perfect analysis has to be done here. That means you have to give your reasons as well because you are obtaining 4 marks for this question and it's an analyzed question. Let's look at the next question. Sunita and Ben have to ensure that they keep very accurate and detailed accounts for their business, such as items shown on balance sheets. Give 2 examples of current assets. Children, 2 marks is given. You don't have to give any explanation. Just list them out, more than enough. There are several current assets. You have stocks, inventory, cash in hand, cash in bank, debtors, prepaid expenses. So in this case, I have used debtors and cash in hand as the examples. Capital is often divided into 2 types. working capital and fixed capital. Outline 2 reasons why working capital is needed. Children, it's an outline question. Similar to a state question, all you have to do is give the 2 reasons for 2 marks. So you can say it is needed to make payments for short-term debts and to pay for operating expenses. So these are the 2 uses of working capital. Let's look at the next question. Right, now this is based on financial accounting. So there is a sum that you have to do here. Children, remember, please don't write the formula again. Don't expect to get additional marks just because you rewrite the formula. There is no need for you to show the working on the question paper itself. In this case, it's only giving you 1 mark. Therefore, simply by doing the calculation and giving the right answer would give you 1 mark. Children, also remember that when you are giving answers, you have to give it according to the terms required. That means now if you are asked to calculate the net profit or gross profit, these will have to be calculated in monetary terms. If you are asked to calculate ratios, ratios are often given in percentages. So let's look at this question. Calculate the return on capital employed, ROCE, for 2016. So we have the figures given. What are the figures that are needed? The formula is given to you at the beginning of the question paper, so you can refer to the formula. ROCE formula is net profit before tax divided by net capital employed multiplied by 100. So we have the net profit here, which is 4,600. We have the capital employed, which is 20,000. So 4,600 divided by 20,000 multiplied by 100 will give you 23%. Please feel free to use calculators, and by giving the answer in percentage, you are scoring the full 1 mark. Let's look at the next question. What would this ROCE ratio indicate to shareholders such as Sunita and Ben? Okay, it's a 5 mark question here. It requires you to give a small analysis of what this ratio really means. The figure of 23%, or better portrayed as 23 pence for every pound invested in capital employed for the year 2016, it would give them an idea of how efficiently the capital is employed. This figure can be used by them to make long-term financial strategies. So here, for 5 marks, you have given what the figure means. Obviously, ROCE is a ratio which indicates what kind of return has come on the investment made. Then it will also give an idea of the efficiency of the capital employed. That is, the use of this ratio is given to you, and then how discuss the benefits of financial information for making business decisions. Okay, this is a 6 marks question. You are asked to discuss the benefits in this case. So giving out 3 advantages of financial information in making business decisions is what is required from you. Financial statements show the financial status of the business. Monitoring the financial health of the business can make the difference between failure and success of the business. It provides a snapshot which will prevent wastage of financial resources. These figures will also tell them how they are performing compared to their competitors. So in the beginning I have given the definition of what financial statements show. Then we're talking about measuring the financial health of the business, and then about preventing of wastage of financial resources and being able to compare the financial figures against competitors. So you have got 3 benefits here for 6 marks. Let's look at the next question. If HTL expands rapidly, there will be diseconomies of scale. One of these diseconomies of scale might be communication. Consider 2 ways that this diseconomy of scale can be managed. Children, now you have seen that as an organization grows bigger, you will have diseconomies of scale. So diseconomies of scale can be in terms of communication. In this case, communication means that there is miscommunication in the organization. When an organization becomes bigger, the diseconomy here is that all the people in the organization don't know what's happening. Then thereby the workers are dissatisfied, errors are being made, and the people who are working for the organization may feel demotivated. Therefore, how can you manage the diseconomy of scale when it comes to communication? So for 4 marks, the answer you can give is, issues can be avoided if they have regular meetings with all parties involved so that everyone is informed about what is happening. That's one way. The second one is, they also need to keep the staff informed so they know what to do, and this would reduce errors or misconceptions. So basically, for this question, we have identified two ways of overcoming the diseconomy of scale of communication, and we have explained it as well. So this will give you a full 4 marks. Let's look at the next question. Governments can introduce laws to ensure consumers are protected when dealing with businesses. Name 2 laws that protect consumers. Okay, now let's recall. This is from the Consumer Protection Unit, and they are only asking you to name the 2 laws. No need to make an explanation here or give out any examples. Just naming the 2 laws will give you sufficiently 2 marks. So the 2 laws that I have used here is Consumer Credit Act 1974, Consumer Rights Act 2005. So children, remember that quoting the year is important because some of the acts have been amended over the years. Therefore, the year of the act is also important. You can quote any of the other acts that you have learnt in consumer protection, but these are the 2 that I have quoted here. Let's go for the next question. Another piece of legislation that affects business is competition policy. Explain how competition policy could help HTL. Okay, now competition policy is a law that is put forth by the government. How can competition policy help HTL? So let's look at this for 4 marks. So it's an explanation question. You have to give a depth answer in this case. The policy helps the growth of small businesses so that HTL can join markets where there will be more competition. So the government, as a competition policy legislation is, the government is encouraging organizations to join up into markets and start competing with each other. When there are several small businesses in the market, it is less likely that there will be one dominating business. So these are the 2 reasons why competition policy can help HTL. So there will be, when they go by the competition policy, it will help them to have a market growth, and at the same time there is no monopoly in this market. So HTL will find it easy to survive. Let's look at the next question. In 2017, the UK government had a number of methods to help businesses become more environmentally friendly. One method was to help businesses that invest in renewable energy such as solar power. So for 6 marks, the question is justify why HTL should invest in renewable energy. So the government has introduced a scheme where they help businesses to invest in renewable energy such as solar power. How can HTL get the advantage of this? As the government is offering incentives for using renewable energy, then HTL could benefit financially by investing in this. The first advantage. The incentives helps to reduce cost of installation. The second advantage. HTL can also gain funds from anything that is generated. As HTL operates normally through day and night, this could help reduce their running costs. So basically, if the government is helping businesses to make use of renewable energy and HTL has decided to invest in renewable energy, the advantages are given here with an explanation. So it's a justification question. It's similar to an explanation question where you can give the advantages very clearly. So here for 6 marks, 3 advantages have been quoted. Let's look at the next question. The government raises direct taxes and indirect taxes. Both types of taxes will influence what HTL offers its customers, how customers use the business, and the effect on its profits. Now there are 2 methods here. Method 1 is direct taxes, method 2 is indirect tax. Select the method that would have most influence on HTL. So basically here I am choosing direct tax as the method, but indirect tax is also going to have an influence on the business. But let's see how the explanation can go for 8 marks. Discuss your reasons for the method chosen. So why do you think that direct tax will have a greater impact on the business? If the government decided to increase the income tax, then people would have less disposable income for outings, which means that they are less likely to use HTL. It is normally people who do not have their own transport who will use HTL when they need to get from one place to another. This would have a larger impact on their business as people may not be able to travel to and from work. So they would have to look for jobs near home. So this is basically one. Then, however, there will be others who will use HTL now because they can no longer afford to keep their cars, as it is cheaper for them to use HTL rather than maintain their own vehicles. So you can see that although the HTL's business will decline on one end from its regular customers who normally use HTL, there will be a new class of customers who will join HTL. So this is basically how it will impact the direct taxes. Changes of the government to increase the direct taxes would impact HTL. Let's look at the next question. HTL purchased computers and software for use in its office. HTL prefers not to use profit or bank loans to fund these purchases. Explain one other suitable source of finance that can be used for these purposes. So for these purchases, one other suitable finance could be they can use hire purchase or leasing. So HTL could lease the computers. This means that it does not have to pay their full cost at once, and the cost would get spread over a number of years. So here, since it's a 3-mark question, you have mentioned the type of finance which is to lease, and also the advantage or the justification would be that they don't have to pay the full cost at once. So it's a deferred payment for the business, and the cost would be spread over a number of years because they will only be paying in installments. Let's look at the next question. Analyze 2 drawbacks if HTL decided to use its profits to purchase computers. So another way of purchasing the computers would be to make use of the profits available. If they use the profits to purchase computers, they would not have any more profits to use in case of emergency. So once the computers are purchased, there is no more profits left. Then the next advantage, the next disadvantage here would be, if the profit is used, the shareholders may have to forego their dividends. Thus, they may not approve of keeping the money in the business, because now the shareholders will lose their dividends. They would feel that it is useless for them to invest in the business, so they may pull out their monies. So for 4 marks, you can give 2 drawbacks because 2 drawbacks are required and the analysis is given. Let's look at the next question. This is an 8 marks question. Technology is changing all the time and has a huge impact on businesses. New technology can mean more costs for HTL. Sunita and Ben know that they will have to keep up to date with these changes. Otherwise, they may lose customers to other businesses. Evaluate the cost and benefits of new technology for HTL. In terms of cost, if HTL is to keep up with technology, it will have to purchase new equipment, which will be expensive but which will enable HTL to be more efficient. This would also save manpower and give long-term benefits. Further, to compete with other businesses in the same line, it needs to have up-to-date technology. In terms of benefits, the public will consider it as being up-to-date, where technology can assist customers to purchase tickets online or via mobile phone apps, thereby gaining more customers. So it's an evaluate question for 8 marks, children, and it has to give both the cost and the benefits. Now we have mentioned the cost. The cost is basically involved in purchasing the new equipment. However, even if the new equipment purchasing is expensive, it would give them benefits in the long term. Then in terms of the overall benefit, the public will consider it as the business being up to date because they are using new technology. The public will be in a position to use mobile apps and purchase tickets online. So this would be advantageous to the business by attracting more people from different platforms of business. So this is all you have to write for 8 marks. Let's look at the next question. There are many decisions that business have to make, and HTL is keen to show that it is environmentally friendly. One decision is to use a fuel with low carbon emissions for its vehicles. This fuel could be more expensive to purchase than other fuels. Okay, so they're talking about an expensive fuel that they may have to use. Discuss why HTL should change to low carbon emission fuel. Okay, the reason why they should change over. And for 5 marks. So it's a discuss question. You can start this way. HTL should change their fuel because it will help the environment. The old fuel would give off gases which would pollute the atmosphere. Using other resources means that it reduces the emissions given off and makes the environment cleaner, which means it is healthier for people. This could be used in their advertising campaign to create a positive image of the company. So just by changing over to low carbon emission fuel, they can have positive advertising campaigns. Let's look at the next question. If HTL does expand, it will need to increase its promotion. Using an example, show how HTL could use below the line promotion. Okay, now it's for 2 marks. You can just mention what below the line promotion is and you can give the example. Below the line promotion are methods of promotion that does not include TV or radio, rather it is promotion done by the company itself. An example for below the line promotion is to give price reduction for additional journeys. Here I have mentioned yet another method. They can give free gifts for regular users. So you can write any below the line promotion method to obtain your 2 marks. How would your example benefit the business? This is for 3 marks. By giving the customers a price reduction on each additional ride, customers would want to take more rides, which means that there would be repeat customers. So that would be one benefit. Further, these customers may tell their friends about these price reductions, which means that they would have new business. So basically, price reduction will mean additional rides by the customers, there would be repeat customers, and there would be new business as well. The next question is, analyze why successful public relations is important to any business. So, public relations means where the business maintains a positive relationship with the general public. So, public relations is a relatively cheaper method of promotion whereby the business will maintain a good reputation among its customers. When the customers are happy with the service they receive from the business, they will tell their friends. Through this, the business will gain repeat customers. It also means to build the trust of customers so that they would come back to the business. So basically, there will be new as well as repeat customers who will keep coming back to the business. This is for 5 marks. Let's look at the next question. HTL wants to expand. Before this can be done, further market research should be carried out. HTL must decide which method of market research it will use. HTL is considering using either option 1, primary research, or option 2, secondary research. Here I have selected primary research as the option. And for 10 marks, you are expected to justify why you have selected this option and rejected the other. So why have you selected primary research over secondary research? Primary research is time consuming as all the data has to be collected by oneself. However, the key advantage is that the data collected is totally relevant to the business. Unlike the data extracted in secondary research, which may be out of date and irrelevant in some cases. So you are giving the advantage of primary research over secondary research here. Then although primary research may be expensive, compared to secondary research, the results are long lasting and can be valuable in the long run too. Overall, primary research is better because it gives limited up-to-date facts which can be used for better analysis. So that is why it would be better to go for primary research. And this is for 10 marks. Right. Thank you. We have come to the end of this past paper. Please understand that when you write your answers, you are supposed to pay attention to the time that you spend on each of the questions. Don't spend too long on 1 mark or 2 mark questions giving explanations and examples that is not required from you. If it is a list question, please list out. A state question will require only a single sentence. When you are required to give an example, please give examples and explanation. Also, just by looking at the marks which say 10 or 8 marks, please don't think you are expected to write pages and pages. The correct evaluation with the points or the correct analysis, the correct discussion with the right number of points will give you the marks that you can achieve. There is no need for you to write in large quantity, but the quality of the answer is very important.